Hi, it's Jane on the WOTWIP and Coffee, which I really should change the name of that. Um, I am drinking the soda that I made with the ocean water. Very tasty. Pretty color of blue. Wouldn't that make a beautiful yarn? Yeah, so anyway, today I am working on the crochet blanket again. I have picked up a couple of balls from the Prayer Shawl Ministry because they're wanting to get rid of some of those smaller balls. So when I go in there every once in a while, I'll pick up a couple of the balls to work with and kind of go through and use those up. I just added this light blue to this, so I'm going to continue working on that. And other than that, I finally gotten an answer about how come the insurance hadn't repaired the window. Normally, a lot of those insurances send someone out to look at it, give an estimate of the cost, and then they send someone out to fix it. Well, supposedly they've been waiting on an estimate. But did anybody ever ask me to try to get an estimate? No, they did not. So I have a call out to a guy to ask him to come by and give me an estimate for the repair so I can get it repaired, that kind of stuff. It's just ridiculous. And it's probably one of those things, a $12 piece of glass will fix it and a little bit of putty and we'll be done. You know? But, yeah, I'm not too thrilled with this person's insurance or this landscaper who, I think he was hoping it would just go away. Not really sure what he was thinking. But whatever. Anyway, it'll all get sorted out, right? Has to. So I do think it's rather funny seeing some of the things that are going on in the world today and all the worries and, you know, Trump blew the drug runners and their payload out to sea, and now the left is defending them. They were just fishermen out fishing. And how do you explain the blocks, the drugs? Okay, whatever. Somehow there's a part of me that goes, do they make these things up in their heads? Or are they just trying to defend criminality? You know? I don't know. Kind of weird. One of my friends had sent me a little clip of the whole debacle with RFK and Senator Warren about the CDC recommendations for the C-19 vaccine. And it's about giving it to newborns or babies over 6 months of age. CDC is going to drop that recommendation because there's no scientific evidence for it. And she's raising holy stink. Well, we already know that she has pharma in her back pocket. So, you know, that's my question. Is that what's up for grabs here? Is that why she's raising the stink? Or is she really concerned about those little babies getting the vaccine that they've shown has no real merit in that age group? I don't know. Kind of makes you wonder. It's kind of like I was listening to a report where someone was talking about how now that some states allow Medicaid to pay for abortions, late-term abortions, and basically they were talking about how the cost, why doctors would recommend a late-term abortion, even if there is no clear, valid health reason for it, as in there's nothing clinically wrong with the baby, there's nothing clinically wrong with the mom, but the doctors are going to report it that way so that they can do the abortion for the person seeking the abortion. And what they found is that if that is allowed to continue, they make $10,000 per abortion. And that's what they get from the government for that, through these grants and these programs. So here's my question. They're getting that much for the abortion. Why are they charging the patient? I don't care what clinic you go to. I don't know of anyone that gives free abortions. You know, it's usually at least 125 to up to thousands, depending on where you're going, what stage of pregnancy you're in. So, you know, that kind of makes me wonder, were these doctors double dipping at these abortion clinics? Who knows? So, just find it odd. You know, some of the things you learn as you go. Hang on, I need to go answer that. Sorry about that. So yeah, you know, those were kind of some things that I think are interesting, how people get bent out of shape, but they don't bother to look at the research and that kind of thing to see what's really going on. So, and I find that sad. You know, their research doesn't show that it really affects infants, and it doesn't show that it really gives them any more immunity than anything else. So that's something that should be passed by. So, you know, if there was some let me pick up my hook. There was some clear research showing that it was helpful, I could see that, but there hasn't been, so, you know, no reason to keep doing that kind of thing. And just because the CDC doesn't recommend it on that timetable for the infants doesn't mean it's still not available. You know, it's kind of like people making a big stink about DeSantis canceling the mandates for it. You can still get it. You know, it's kind of like shingles. You don't have to get the shingles shot. You don't have to get the RSV pneumonia. There's a lot that you don't need to get. But people choose to, and your insurances still pay for it. So, I'm just curious if that's a dollar thing with some of these people. You know, because, let's face it, pharmaceuticals companies make a lot of money off of those vaccines. So, I don't know. And I do find it rather interesting a lot of people are predicting that the insurance rates will go up. Well, I've talked about this before. That was built into Obamacare to begin with, back when it was passed, that you would get certain subsidies until the year 2025, and then it would be raised. You know, those things would be taken away. But I've seen a couple articles where folks have talked about a lot of it has to do with companies eating some of the cost, higher cost of medical supplies, medical things, injections like the Ozempic, Mounjaro, those kind of things where the insurance companies have been eating some of the cost for that. And because it has become so popular to lose weight with, that a lot of doctors are prescribing it to their patients, whether they have diabetes or not, in order to help them lose weight. Now, here's the bad thing about that. You go off the medication, you don't learn any new eating habits, any exercise, any whatever, you're going to go right back to gaining the weight. So, I don't know if that really helps or not. And basically what it does is it gives you almost this sense of not quite the type of gastroparesis that I had, but the main thing that these drugs do is they slow your digestion. And in many cases, patients complain about being slightly nauseous. Well, that's because the drug's doing what it was meant to do, slow down your stomach. Slow down the food process of your stomach, moving that food from your stomach to your gut. And the idea is that you'll feel full, so you won't want to eat as much, so you'll lose weight. So, you know, there are good things, bad things about it, and there are a lot of people that just swear by it, and, you know, more power to you. That's what works for you, go for it. But those drugs are costly. They're highly expensive. So, there's that little bit of a problem there. It's crazy. Just absolutely crazy. But I think a lot of it is these people that are in the drug company's back pocket that are raising a stink about it. You know? Hope I'm wrong. One of the other things that I'm seeing is there's a lot of people on the left that are out there posting pictures of an old cabinet meeting, and it wasn't on the health of women, but they were saying that it was a meeting about the health of women with no women in attendance, and it had Mike Pence at the head seat. How long has Mike Pence been out of office? What does that have to do with what's going on today? Nothing. And here's the other thing. I understand people think that you have to have a woman sitting there, but that doesn't mean you don't have other women around you. Your wives, your sisters, your mothers that haven't given you advice as one of the people that are in on that meeting. And the other thing is, I don't think this meeting was the one on health. But who knows if it was or not, but that was how many years ago? 2017, 8 years ago. What does that have to do with today? You know, and just like I keep hearing, because I do follow people left and right, just to see what's going on, what they're saying, the nonsense that both sides are spouting. And yeah, sometimes there's a lot of nonsense. That's all I got to say. A lot of nonsense. That is good. It's not overly coconutty, so it's very good though. So you have a lot of left content creators, you know, trying to say there's breaking news that the Epstein survivors mentioned Trump and that he was a powerful friend of Epstein. Yeah. So was Clinton. So was Bill Richardson. I mean, there's a lot there on the left and the right that were friends of Epstein. It's like, oh my God, but that didn't mean squat. So, I don't know. And I watched someone that said with the young ladies and men that were abused by these sexual predators, they plan on making their own list and releasing it. I pray to God that they have safety measures in place for them. Because you know what's going to happen? You know what I'm thinking. They're going to get killeried. I mean, seriously. I do hope and pray for their safety, boy. But at the same time, I also think that these guys need to be prosecuted to the fullest. And I don't care if they're right, left, or middle. But chips fall where they may. And that includes our president. If he is indeed was one of the perpetrators, he needs to go down for it. They all do. So I don't know. And I guess I don't understand some of the criticism of Nancy Mace, who had walked out between the cameras, and a lot of people, saying, well, she should have expected it. She should have got herself together. If you have never been raped or traumatized by that, you have no idea what kind of emotions, what kind of memories that triggers, the panic attack level that happens. So you should keep your mouth shut. I'm sure it triggered a lot for her in that hearing. And if she was visibly shaken, leave her alone. But somehow people think that they have to be better than the rest of everybody else and hold themselves completely in composure and not have any emotions whatsoever. And that's inhumane of people to think that they should be able to do that. So just a little bit on the crazy side, if you ask me. I see where the fashion guru Armani has passed away. Wonder what that means in the fashion world. Although I don't know if he's behind some of those crazy fashions we see. People wearing upside down brooms and things like that or what. But I would hope not. I don't think I have enough to do another row. Nope, I'm going to have to end this. Blood sugar alarm. Like I said, it's good and it's bad. Same time. I knew it was going to be high. I had a cookie at lunch. I knew that would shoot me up over it. I didn't care. I was having a cookie. But anyway, sometimes I wonder about some of the fashions that are out there. You know? Sometimes they're kind of crazy and nutso. And I often wonder, do they consider that art? Or exactly what are they trying to convey? What message are they trying to convey? Like the one where it looked like they were wearing googly eyes. Do you remember that one? What was meant behind that? What was the goal? Was there a goal? Was there not a goal? And I have to tell you, some of these models' expressions, they look lifeless to me. Honestly, they do. They look like they have no joy in their life. And perhaps that's what they're expected to do when they're out there on the runway. I don't know. Do you guys have an idea? Is that expected? To have such a sourpuss look? Yeah, crazy. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's all I can say. Have a bit of a crazy dilemma here with our Awana group. Our Awana group had made a big stink about the fact that last year the Awana group went through and they helped with the church's packing party for Operation Christmas Child. But they were complaining because when they got into the sanctuary for it, there was very little left to be packed into the boxes. It was disappointing. Now, kids weren't disappointed. The kids were thrilled to death, those that got to do it. However, the last group of kids, the older group, was not able to go in because everything had already been gone through. There was nothing left to pack into boxes. Now, before that, earlier that day, they had allowed the teen group, youth group, to come in, and they had started doing it like a challenge to see if the boys could beat the girls. So they'd run down that aisle, packing things into a box without any thought, any idea what they were doing, just to see how many boxes they could get filled. And so I had suggested that this year, to the person that's coordinating the packing party, that what they ought to do is not allow them to pack boxes till after the Awana group has gone through, and or have them assist the Awana kids with getting the boxes filled. So, I don't know. They had a suggestion that maybe items could be brought into their classroom for them to pack boxes into the classroom. And I'm like, I don't think you people understand. That is not going to work at all. So, I don't know. Bit of a kerfluffle. I don't think there's an easy answer. So that should be interesting, right? See how things happen there? Let me pause you. I need to cut this and get a new yarn ready. All right. Added a new color. Now I've got a little bit of a gold color going on here. So we'll see how that goes. Well, this is a little thinner. This should be interesting. See how that's going to come out the way it's going to look. Feels thinner. Feels like a 3-weight almost. It's supposed to be a 4-weight, but we'll see. Isn't it funny how some of the yarns are different weights than others? So, have any of you seen any of the new yarns, the new twist yarns in Michaels lately? Thought I had watched a video where someone had gone in and they wanted $9.99 for a skein that normally was, what was it, $3.79 in Joann's? I'm like, I don't know, Michaels, I ain't paying that kind of money. Of course, you know, I'm working out of my stash, so it'll be a long time before I buy yarns. I might buy a yarn here or there, but very rarely. So I'm kind of curious, would you pay $9.99 for a 14-ounce skein of yarn? Not a 14-ounce. 7-ounce skein of yarn. I might for a 14, but I doubt it. I just doubt it. You know? I think that's kind of steep for yarn. Then again, most of our yarn comes from out of seas, so overseas, so what do we expect? And I heard somebody say that when they had ordered Hobie, they had first thought that it was going to be too expensive with the shipping cost. But when they figured it out that the cost per skein was actually a better cost. Now I know the Hobie yarn that I have ordered in the past for the prayer shawl ministry was absolutely wonderful yarn. And the shipping cost really was not that much. Wasn't such a bad shipping cost at all. At least I didn't think it was that bad. Who knows what it is nowadays. Sometimes I think people blame the tariffs for everything. Tariffs are being blamed for the upcoming higher cost of health care. Sometimes you just can't make this up. And then there's nothing behind this in the articles that you read that justify why the tariffs would be reason for the increase in healthcare insurance costs. But I'm sure they can justify it somehow. You know, people seem to be able to justify a lot of things these days that just don't make sense to me. But I've been seeing an awful lot of pumpkin creamer recipes, homemade pumpkin creamer. There's a part of me that goes, oh, maybe I'll try that. I'm like, have I even ever had a drink that had pumpkin in it? Can't say I have. Not a coffee, so what makes me think I would enjoy that? But I'm thinking about making one. Just 'cause. Just 'cause I'd like to see if I like it. You never know. One of my favorite homemade ones to make is with the peppermint and cocoa. And you just use, for a chocolate peppermint creamer. And basically you just use the peppermint extract and the cocoa extract and kind of mix those in with when you're making your homemade creamer, and tastes just like the fancy creamer with all the chemicals and oils and things in it. So, I don't know, I prefer something that's a little more natural. But, seen a lot of that, seen a lot of one-pot dishes and soups. Those seem to be all over the place, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, even on Lemonade, and I've seen a couple on Threads as well. I don't get the whole Threads thing, though. It kind of confuses me. Does anybody understand how that works? And there's some things it says, I'll get a message that I've posted something on Instagram, and it'll say this has been posted to Threads. I'm like, why? I didn't really care for it to go to Threads. I don't know, it's just bizarre. And then there's times when I'll upload reels to Facebook, and I'll get the message that it can't be uploaded to Instagram. And then I'll post another one that's pretty much close to about the same thing, and it'll get posted to Instagram. Somewhere I'm missing the criteria, I guess, for that. So, boy, is that interesting. Trying to find out the criteria and the algorithms. And we were talking today at my Bible study about how when you talk about something, whether it's just you're in the room talking about, say like reading glasses. I was given the example the time Thomas and I were talking, and he had his phone out, and he made a comment about he forgot his reading glasses, couldn't see the menu. So then all of a sudden, but I hadn't brought my phone. I had left my phone at home by accident. But we both started getting all kinds of ads and things about reading glasses. So we were kind of laughing about that, about how they're all tied together. And how do they, how does that happen, that they decide that we're a target for those kind of things? Especially when we were talking about if you do a search for anything. I can't remember what she had said. I think one of the gals had said her husband someone had said something about needing a plus size diaper for a family member, whatever. So he'd done a search for it. Then all of a sudden he's getting all these ads and these offers for cheaper diapers, adult diapers. So, I don't know. Well, we are in day 4 of September. Still don't know where the aliens are yet. I hope you guys know that I'm really teasing. I really don't think there are aliens on the way. But I did find it rather interesting that that Harvard professor is absolutely positive that that big old thing is a ship. and it's run by aliens. They're on their way to do us harm. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Wonder what kind of drugs he's been taking. Maybe a little LSD? Who knows? Oh my. Crazier things have happened, haven't they? I did get my skip blades in, so I am getting ready. I'm going to take and run those over the sleeves so that I can start adding on that yarn to do the sleeves for that t-shirt that I have, just because I'd like to see it and see how it comes out. I'm kind of curious. So probably be doing that probably this afternoon, maybe this evening. Try to remember to record it. Sometimes I don't remember to do those kind of things, and my bad. But yeah, I'll try to remember to do that so you guys can see it and see how it looks. You know, the way the blade is. But then take you along while I start to crochet around the edges of the shirt. Should be fun for a little bit, shouldn't it? Alright guys, I am going to let you go because I have a couple things that I do need to get done. It's that time of the week that it's time to scoop up all the little kitten pieces around the house. Although I do run the dust mop, there are days that I actually do a little closer look with the sweep, you know, with the broom and that kind of thing to get them that have found their ways under the cabinets or close to the edge of the bed, that kind of thing. Because Lord knows they tend to sneak up under there and you don't realize they're there. So, yeah, do that. And I've got a little bit of laundry that I need to take care of. So I will let you go and I will see you again on another day. Everybody, if I don't see you this weekend, have a great weekend. But in the meantime, try to do something kind for somebody else. All right, see you soon. Bye.